So I've been asked, what's my favorite event in the city of Pittsburgh? My name is Brian Teyssier, by the way. This is your road to closed quick hacks. I'm more of a warm weather guy, so I tend to just talk about the warm weather climate events. Actually, I lived on the outskirts of Pittsburgh my entire life, and every time I moved, I worked my way into the city, and then one day I realized I'm coming to the city so much, I might as well just move into the city. So I live on Mount Washington. I still have to physically drive down to the city. And in my videos, if I point that direction, it's because out my window is the city of Pittsburgh. So I have to go down to the city a lot. So let's go over some of the events first that are options, and I'll try to narrow down my favorite. It's like asking what your favorite child is to me. So there's Pittsburgh Steelers games, Pittsburgh Pirate games, Pittsburgh Riverhounds games, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite sporting events, even though I don't think it's not high-level professional. I'm not sure it's professional soccer, but it might be like a semi-pro soccer. And there's also the Penguins. So the Penguins is an indoor arena. It's all year round, typically in the winter. That's a good one. The Steelers, I love going in the spring whenever you have preseason, unless one of my friends has a box, because it gets cold here. It's currently 0 degrees as I'm making this video, with a wind chill factor feels like -24. We just had a Christmas Eve game, and let me tell you, you could not catch me out there. A little bougie, whatever. Anyway, so I like the preseason games, and the nice warm weather games are just by far better. Pirate games, the stadium is phenomenal. I'd say it's like #1 in Pittsburgh, with the Riverhounds 1B, because they both open up to the city. They're open-ended stadiums that are open to the city of Pittsburgh views, and you get there when the sun's up, and as the game goes on, the sun goes down, and the lights come on the city. It's just absolutely beautiful. So those are not my favorite events, but those are fantastic events that I love to. It doesn't even matter if I like the sport. I just love going to the stadium. Pittsburgh has some great opportunities there. The next thing would be, I'm into cars. I like cars. So the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, it's out in Shenley Park. It's unfortunately always in like the hottest months of the year, and it's Saturday and Sunday. And it's they have these old vintage cars racing through the park. And then they have every kind of car you could possibly imagine for show, basically. Ferraris, tons of Porsches, Mercedes, new car dealerships come out, Lamborghinis, McLarens, anything you can think of, Aston Martins, it doesn't matter what it is. And it's on the hills of this golf course, so it's outdoors, walking through the grass. Again, it's very, very hot. Again, since it's 0 degrees right now, it's tough for me to even imagine that it could be too hot. But it definitely gets really, really hot. But the cars and the camaraderie and seeing all the kids, absolutely love it. Again, not my favorite event. We have something called Picklesburg, yes, Pickles and Pittsburgh put together, Picklesburg. Closed down one of the bridges, and they have everything pickles. So they have all these vendors come that make stuff out of pickles, and it's really cool. I've gone down to Picklesburg. I've never actually gone on the bridge into Picklesburg because I don't know why, but every time I seem to get there, it's jammed. And again, it's in the summer. It's another summer event, so it's super hot. I usually ride my bicycle down, tie it up, and walk around a little bit, but it's always so jammed, and I don't really care for pickles. I'm not pregnant, you know? So that's another event. We have something called the Furries. I don't know if you know the Furries. I've never heard of the Furries until one day I was down in Pittsburgh riding my bicycle, jogging or whatever, and I saw these people in these huge animal costumes. I don't even know if they're animals. They could be Space Invader costumes. Not human costumes, and it's not any type of animated animal you would know. So it's not like Snoopy or Tony the Tiger. These people actually make them themselves and then wear them, and I don't really know the whole thing behind it, but I guess it's a camaraderie thing. Again, they're in the David L. Lawrence Convention Center downtown. They take it over, and then they go on a parade, and it's pretty cool after. I always try to get down there and have lunch or whatever when they're there, because I feel bad for them. It's extremely hot, but they parade themselves around. They have their costumes, and then they end up taking. It's weird because they take the head part of the costume off, so it's a human head that they're walking around. But they have these big, like furry bodies with these big long tails, and sometimes they have lights on them and stuff. So the Furries is always a very entertaining event, if nothing else. Super peaceful, super calm, no problems. I haven't only been to the Pittsburgh Pride celebration. I haven't been to other ones, so I can't really say it's big, small, medium, large. They have stages set up all around Pittsburgh, and they partially close down some of the streets and that. They do that often. It's not just for gay pride, but then they have musical acts and bands and stuff like that come. So that's always entertaining. Not my favorite one, but I love going down there for that. We have Arts Festival, which is the last 2 years We've had sunny weather, which is odd. Almost every year it's cool and rainy. I think it's in the spring. It's cool and rainy, and it rains out. It's 7 days long, and it almost rains every day. But the past 2 years has been beautiful, so absolutely love the Arts Festival. I'm actually going up in rank. It's one of my favorite events. Another one is Jazz Festival. I absolutely love the Jazz Festival. Unfortunately, the past 2 years they've had it in the Riverhound Stadium, which is out of the city, and you got to buy a ticket to get in, and then you're in this arena with a whole bunch of people in it, and again, it's super hot. They have other sparse events around the city, but pre 2 years ago, they didn't have it there, and they just had stages set up in all the different streets in the city of Pittsburgh, and they shut it down, and you could just, if you wanted to see become VIP, you had to pay tickets, but you could just bebop around to all these different stadiums all weekend long. I think it's 4 days, maybe a week, and just go to all these different ones. But it's really, the format's not the way I like it. But pre 2 years ago, that would probably be my favorite event. That is the Jazz Festival. I mean, nothing like getting on your bicycle or going down, getting a cup of coffee, and just sitting there and hearing live jazz no matter which street you walk on. I absolutely loved it. Another big event is the Pittsburgh Marathon, half marathon and relay. They have kids marathon. They may even have dog marathon as well. It's the whole week as well. They congregate in the David L. Lawrence Convention Center. You pick up your packet, and running vendors or jogging vendors are there as well. So those are just, they're all summer events for me. We used to have a Pittsburgh Regatta, but I think the last 2 or 3 years, maybe because of COVID, it hasn't recovered. It's never been back around. We also have an amazing Ribs Fest, which is down in the Steelers Stadium parking lot. Absolutely love that. There's various bands of all different calibers that come through to all the stadiums I mentioned. We also have a casino that has an outdoor stage, which is really cool. You can listen to some music there as well. I'm trying to think of some winter events. I'm sorry. Pittsburgh Penguins, which is indoors. I mean, outside of Pittsburgh, we have Seven Springs, which is probably about an hour and 40-minute drive. So you have a lot of skiing, snowboarding, and some of that. And there's also other ski resorts about the same distance out. But not a lot of winter stuff to do. There's also the Home and Garden Show, which is the end of winter, beginning of spring. So that's in the David L. Lawrence Convention Center. That's more in the indoors as well. So that's it. So Brian, what is your favorite event in Pittsburgh? I'm going to go with the Jazz Fest. All right, Brian Teyssier. This is Road to Closed Quick Hacks. Wherever you're watching this, why don't you tell me what your favorite one is? I'm sure I'm missing something. I didn't actually do a Google search to see what all the events were. I'm just kind of going out of my brain, the events I love, but I'd love to hear from you.